All right, so we're diving into rail maintenance technician interview prep, getting ready to step into a world of steel grit and keeping those massive trains running on time. We've got resources from RoleCatcher to help you nail this interview.
Yeah.
Break down those common questions, sprinkle in some career insights, and show you how RoleCatcher's AI can be your secret weapon.
What I think is interesting here is that the rail maintenance technician, it's a job that goes way beyond just fixing tracks. We're talking about power lines, signals, switches, and working really around the clock to keep things moving.
Yeah, it's a 247 kind of gig, right?
Definitely.
Rail maintenance technicians play a huge role in public safety. Imagine being part of that behind-the-scenes effort
Yeah.
that keeps everything running smoothly. Pretty cool.
Absolutely so. Let's jump right into some of these interview questions. A common one that you'll likely encounter is, describe a time you had to troubleshoot a rail equipment issue.
Okay, so what are they really looking for there?
They're looking for problem-solving skills. They want to know how you approach a challenge. How do you analyze the situation and think on your feet? So this is your chance to really showcase those abilities.
Okay, so how would you answer a question like that?
The STAR method is your best friend here. Situation, task, action, result.
Right, the STAR method. And I see in the career stages section of the RoleCatcher guide, there are all kinds of examples of technicians troubleshooting things, from faulty switches to signal malfunctions. You can definitely use those for inspiration.
Absolutely. But the key is to be specific. Don't just say, I fixed the problem. Walk them through the situation, what you had to do, the steps you took, and that positive outcome that you achieved.
I bet they have follow-up questions too, right? Like if you were talking about a signal issue, what safety procedures did you follow during that process?
That's a great point. And that's where your knowledge of safety regulations is really going to come into play. They want to see that commitment to safety and how well you understand the industry standards.
So maybe mentioning specific safety certifications or training that you've completed.
Absolutely. It shows that you're proactive about safety and staying up to date. Now, another question you might encounter is, how do you prioritize maintenance tasks when there are multiple equipment issues to address?
Ooh, that's a tough one. Sounds like they're testing your organizational and decision-making skills.
Under pressure, for sure.
Yeah, under pressure, yeah.
Exactly. And since the guide mentions that rail maintenance technicians often work independently, showing that you can handle that pressure and prioritize effectively, it's super important.
So you'd want to kind of outline your process for them. Maybe start by saying, I assess how severe each issue is, what the impact on safety and operations would be.
You got it. You might also consider deadlines, the resources you have available, and even those potential domino effects if one problem isn't fixed quickly.
And again, the STAR method could help you structure your answer there.
For sure, give them a specific scenario where you had to juggle multiple tasks. Explain your reasoning for prioritizing things the way you did, the actions you took, and then, of course, the positive results you achieved.
I'm guessing a possible follow-up question to that could be, have you ever had to change your priorities mid-task because of an unexpected problem?
Absolutely. And if they ask that, they're really trying to see how adaptable and quick on your feet you can be.
Speaking of specific skills, I see the guide mentions welding and fabrication as important areas in rail maintenance. So there's a good chance they'll ask about your experience with that.
If you've got experience in those areas, this is your chance to shine. Even if it's not extensive, be specific. Talk about the types of welding you've done, materials you've worked with, any relevant projects that you've completed.
And certifications or specialized training are definitely worth mentioning.
Absolutely. Now, they might also ask about your experience with something called CMMS, which stands for Computerized Maintenance Management Systems.
So that's kind of where technology meets rail maintenance.
Exactly. Being familiar with CMMS shows that you can work with modern systems and manage data effectively. So talk about how you've used it in past roles. Things like scheduling maintenance tracking inventory or generating reports.
What if you haven't used a specific CMMS before?
Even then, you can talk about your general computer skills and your willingness to learn new software quickly.
Okay, so we've talked about problem solving, we've talked about technical skills. Now safety's obviously huge in this field.
Huge.
So I'm guessing there will be a question about that.
You bet they might ask something like, what experience do you have with safety regulations and procedures in rail maintenance?
Okay, so you need to prove that you understand how important those regulations and procedures are, but it's not enough to just say, I follow the rules.
Right. You need to talk about specific safety protocols, Things like lockout procedures, track safety rules, personal protective equipment requirements. You can pull examples from the career stages section here, like how the junior rail maintenance technician talks about prioritizing compliance with standards and regulations.
That's a good point. They're definitely looking for that kind of mindset. And mentioning any specific safety training you've had would be smart too.
Absolutely, especially if it's relevant to this job. Now let's shift gears a bit. They might ask a question to gauge your leadership potential. Something like, describe your experience managing a team of rail maintenance technicians.
Even if you haven't had an official management role, you've probably had chances to lead or mentor others, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Think about times when you took initiative, delegated tasks, or helped train new team members. The career guide outlines different career stages, and you can really use those as a framework for your answer. For example, the senior rail maintenance technician is responsible for leading a team and helping them develop professionally.
So you could describe a situation where you had to step into that leadership role. Talk about the tasks you delegated, the challenges you faced, and the positive outcome that you achieved.
And don't be afraid to talk about your leadership style and how you motivate others. Are you collaborative, results-oriented? Do you focus on mentoring and development? Let your personality shine through?
This is all about showing them who you are as a person
Hmm.
and how you'd fit into their team.
Now here's a question that requires some careful thought. Describe a time when you had to make a difficult decision related to rail maintenance.
Ooh, that's a tricky one. What are they trying to uncover with a question like that?
This question is all about your judgment, your ethics, and how you handle pressure. They want to see how you weigh different factors and make those tough calls, especially when safety is on the line.
So what kind of situations should you describe?
Choose a situation that shows your ability to think critically. Analyze risks and make a decision that aligns with safety regulations and company policies.
It's not just about the decision itself, it's about the process you went through to get there.
Exactly.
Right.
Explain your reasoning, what options you considered, and why you ultimately chose that course of action.
And I bet they'll have a follow-up question for this one too. Like, what did you learn from that experience? And how has it influenced your decision-making process?
That's a great opportunity to show that you learn from your experiences, and you're always trying to improve your skills. It shows that you're reflective and committed to growth.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here with these interview questions, but I want to make sure I understand something. It's not about memorizing answers right. It's about understanding what the interviewer is really looking for, and then tailoring your responses to demonstrate those qualities.
You nailed it.
Okay.
You want to show them that you're not just qualified for the job, but that you're the best fit for their team. And that's where RoleCatcher's AI can really help you stand out.
Hold on, before we jump into that, I'm curious about something. The guide mentions advancement paths and the importance of continuous learning. Can we talk a little bit about that?
Absolutely. One of the exciting things about this field is the growth potential. You could become a senior technician, a supervisor, even move into engineering.
So there's a clear path forward.
Definitely. And the industry is constantly evolving with new technologies emerging all the time. So staying current is crucial. The guide recommends attending industry conferences, workshops, subscribing to publications, joining professional associations, all great ways to stay ahead of the curve.
It makes sense the more you invest in your knowledge and skills, the more valuable you become.
Exactly.
It's like anything else in life, right?
Exactly. And that investment pays off not just in terms of career advancement, but also in your ability to contribute to a safer and more efficient railway system. Okay, now let's talk about how RoleCatcher's AI can give you that extra edge in your interview prep.
All right, let's unlock that secret weapon. How does it work?
It's like having a personalized coach in your pocket. You upload the job description to RoleCatcher, and its AI analyzes it instantly, pinpointing the exact skills they're looking for.
So it takes all the guesswork out of it.
Exactly. It then connects those skills to your profile,
Yeah.
highlighting any gaps or areas where you can strengthen your presentation.
That's incredible. It's like having a custom roadmap for your interview prep. Does it help you come up with what to say too?
Absolutely. RoleCatcher suggests tailored responses to common interview questions, making sure you're addressing their specific needs and priorities.
It sounds almost too good to be true.
And here's the best part. It's not just about what you say, but how you say it. RoleCatcher's video practice feature lets you record your responses and get AI-powered feedback on your delivery. It analyzes your tone, your pacing, even your body language.
Wow, it's like having a virtual interview coach available 24/7.
And with RoleCatcher's huge library of interview questions, you can practice for any scenario, from technical to behavioral to those tricky situational judgment questions.
So you're going into this interview not just prepared, but with a strategic edge.
You got the insights, the tools, and the personalized guidance to really showcase your skills and experience.
This is amazing. And before we move on, can we touch on one more thing from the career guide? It mentioned that having specialized skills, like experience with computerized maintenance management systems, or welding and fabrication can give you an advantage. Can you elaborate on that a little?
Absolutely. More and more rail companies are relying on CMS. So that experience is incredibly valuable. And if the role involves specialized track work, those welding and fabrication skills can really set you apart.
It's all about highlighting those skills that align with the job description and showing them that you're the ideal candidate.
Exactly. Now, I know we've thrown a lot of information at you, but I want to leave you with one final thought before we move on.
What's that?
It's not just about getting the job. It's about building a career that is vital to our infrastructure, our economy, and the safety of countless people every single day.
That's a really powerful thought. So as you continue your interview prep, think about this. What's one skill or experience you're going to focus on highlighting to make a lasting impression on the interviewer?
Choose something that showcases your strengths, your passion for rail maintenance, and aligns perfectly with that job description. And use RoleCatcher to help you craft a compelling story. That will make you stand out from the competition.
All right, so we've talked about some really important things today. We've gone over the ins and outs of prepping for that rail maintenance technician interview, but there's still so much more to uncover. So make sure you join us for part 2 of this deep dive, where we'll explore even more strategies for acing that interview and really setting yourself up for success in this exciting field. See you there.
It sounds good. So you're talking about how it all comes down to preparation, right? You want to present yourself as the ideal candidate for the job.
And that's really what RoleCatcher helps you do. Put your best foot forward.
Absolutely. It's all about aligning your skills and experience with what the employer's looking for.
Speaking of alignment, the guy also mentions that the rail industry is always evolving, with all these new technologies popping up all the time.
Yeah, that's a great point. It's a dynamic field, for sure. And staying ahead of the curve is key for any aspiring rail maintenance technician.
So how do you stay current? What does the guide recommend?
It suggests attending industry conferences and workshops, subscribing to relevant publications, and joining professional associations. Those are all fantastic ways to stay informed about the latest advancements.
Yeah, it's like anything else. The more you invest in your knowledge and skills, the more valuable you become.
Right. And that investment not only benefits your career, but also contributes to a safer and more efficient railway system overall. Now, before we wrap up, I'd love to circle back to something we touched on earlier, those specialized skills that can give you a real edge in this field.
You mean like experience with CMMS and welding and fabrication?
Exactly. Let's say a rail company is implementing a new cutting-edge CMMS platform. If you can demonstrate knowledge of that specific system during your interview, it could really impress them.
It shows you're not just familiar with the technology, but that you're proactive in keeping up with the latest advancements.
Precisely. And when it comes to welding and fabrication, remember that rail maintenance often involves specialized track work. So having those skills in your back pocket can make you a highly desirable candidate, especially for roles that require that expertise.
It's all about showing them you have the specific skills and knowledge they're looking for.
And that you're passionate about this field. Remember, rail maintenance is a career with huge demand right now.
It's a field where you can make a real difference in terms of safety, efficiency, and keeping things moving across the country.
It's a vital part of our infrastructure, and skilled technicians are in high demand. So as you prepare for your interview, think about this. What's one specific skill or experience that you can highlight to really make an impact?
Something that showcases your strengths, aligns with the job description, and demonstrates your dedication to this field.
And don't forget to leverage RoleCatcher's AI tools. They can provide invaluable insights and help you craft a compelling narrative that will set you apart from the competition.
It's like having a personalized coach guiding you every step of the way.
And remember, the railway industry is constantly evolving. So continuous learning is essential for long-term success.
It's about investing in your future and contributing to a critical part of our nation's infrastructure.
Now, before we wrap up completely, I want to leave you with one final thought. It's not just about acing the interview. It's about finding a role where you can thrive and make a meaningful contribution.
It's about finding a place where your skills and passion can truly shine.
So go into that interview confident, prepared, and ready to show them why you're the perfect fit for their team.
And with the help of RoleCatcher's AI, you'll be well on your way to landing that dream job in rail maintenance. Yeah, sounds like a really rewarding career.
Absolutely, and it's a field that's only going to become more important as our reliance on rail transportation grows.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into preparing for a rail maintenance technician interview, what's the one key takeaway you want our listeners to remember?
Preparation is everything. Use the resources we've discussed today. like the RoleCatcher Career Guide and their AI-powered tools. Really hone your skills and showcase your strengths. And remember, it's not just about getting the job, it's about finding the right fit for your skills and aspirations.
Finding a role where you can contribute to something bigger than yourself.
Exactly. So best of luck with your interview prep. And here's to a successful career in rail maintenance.